Why do you keep avoiding the very things you know could change your life? You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you'll send that job application, you'll get back to the gym, you'll finally sit down and work on that project that's been haunting you. But tomorrow comes, and somehow, nothing happens. Instead, you're stuck in the same loop, feeling guilty, frustrated, and wondering, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep sabotaging myself? If you've ever asked yourself that, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Albert Ellis, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, believed avoidance isn't laziness at all. It's something deeper. And once you see it, you'll never look at procrastination the same way again. Let's be honest, this struggle isn't rare. It's universal. It's that Monday morning alarm that gets snoozed 3 times because your bed feels safer than the day ahead. It's the email you've been meaning to write, the one that could open a new door in your career, but somehow you find yourself scrolling through your phone instead. It's that workout plan you set up with so much excitement, new shoes, new playlist, the whole routine, only to abandon it within a week, telling yourself you'll start fresh on Monday. Again, and here's the cruel irony. The worst part isn't even the delay. It's not the undone task sitting on your desk or the gym membership gathering dust. The real sting is what happens afterward, the guilt spiral. You know the one. First comes the shame. Why can't I just do this like everyone else? Then comes the self-criticism. I'm so lazy. I'll never change. And finally, the empty promise. Tomorrow I'll get it together. But then tomorrow arrives and the same invisible resistance rises up like a wall you can't quite climb. You circle back to where you started, frustrated, ashamed, and even more convinced that maybe something is wrong with you. If this sounds familiar, pause for a moment, because here's the truth. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not weaker than everyone else who seems to have it all together. What's really happening is that your brain is following a script, a hidden set of instructions quietly running in the background of your mind, a script that shapes how you think, how you feel, and ultimately how you act or don't act. You didn't write this script consciously. It's been pieced together over years through your upbringing, your experiences, your culture, and most importantly, through the beliefs you've absorbed about yourself and the world. It whispers to you in moments of decision, convincing you that not trying is safer than trying and failing, that avoidance is easier than risking disappointment, and so you obey the script without realizing it, day after day, year after year. Payoff. But once you recognize that this isn't about laziness or weakness, that it's about a hidden script, you can begin to see yourself differently. And in that shift, there's power. Cliffhanger. But where does this script come from? And more importantly, how can Ellis help us tear it up and rewrite it? Albert Ellis was a psychologist who wasn't afraid to challenge the way people thought about their problems. While many believed their struggles were caused by outside events, stressful jobs, failed relationships, financial setbacks, Ellis made a bold claim. It's not events that disturb us, it's what we believe about those events. At first, that sounds almost too simple, but think about it. 2 people can face the exact same situation and respond in completely different ways. One person misses a deadline and shrugs it off, planning to do better next time. Another misses the same deadline and collapses into shame, convinced they're incompetent. The event is the same, but the beliefs surrounding it are worlds apart. And that's where avoidance sneaks in. It's rarely the task itself that makes us freeze. Writing an email isn't hard. Going for a jog isn't complicated. Opening a book isn't rocket science. What makes those things feel heavy, what turns them into mountains instead of molehills, are the beliefs we attach to them. For example, you might tell yourself, if I can't do this perfectly, I might as well not start at all. If I try and fail, everyone will see how worthless I really am. If this feels uncomfortable, it means something is wrong with me. Notice what's happening here? You're not avoiding the jog, the email, or the book. You're avoiding the crushing weight of what you believe those tasks represent. To start feels dangerous because failure in your mind doesn't just mean I didn't succeed this time. It means I'm a failure. And so you hesitate, you retreat, you distract yourself, not because you're weak, but because in that moment, avoidance feels like self-preservation. In Ellis's view, avoidance isn't laziness. It's protection. Protection from the unbearable pressure of irrational beliefs. But that raises a crucial question. What exactly are these beliefs, and why do they hold such power over us? Albert Ellis believed that much of our suffering doesn't come from life itself, but from the rigid, unrealistic demands we secretly place on ourselves, on others, and even on the world at large. He called these demands irrational beliefs. They usually take the shape of musts and shoulds. I must always do well. Life must be easy. Others must treat me fairly. On paper, they don't sound so bad. After all, wanting to succeed, hoping for fairness, or wishing life was smooth seems reasonable. But Ellis pointed out that when those wishes harden into absolute demands, they become a trap. Because life simply doesn't work that way. Now let's translate those abstract musts into how they sound in everyday life. I must succeed at this, or I'm a total failure. I should already have my life together by now. Something must be wrong with me. Things must go smoothly, otherwise it means I'm not good enough. Do you see the problem? When your beliefs are this rigid, failure isn't just an event, it's an attack on your identity. One setback feels like proof that you're broken. One mistake feels like a verdict on your worth as a person. And if that's the weight a task carries, no wonder you avoid it. Who would willingly step into something that feels like it could destroy their sense of self? It's not laziness, it's fear. Fear born from irrational demands that set you up to suffer before you've even begun. But here's the shift Ellis wanted us to see. These musts and shoulds aren't facts, they're illusions. Once you recognize that, you can begin to loosen their grip. You don't have to be perfect, you don't have to meet impossible standards. But knowing these beliefs exist is only the first step. The bigger question is, how do you actually challenge them? And how do you replace them with something that frees you instead of trapping you? And if this is connecting with you, hit subscribe, because this channel is all about breaking down psychology so you can understand and master your own mind. Ellis didn't just identify irrational beliefs, he built a method to dismantle them. He called it disputing. Here's how it works. Say your belief is, if I don't do this perfectly, I'm a complete failure. Ellis would have you ask, where's the evidence for that? Does one imperfect attempt make me worthless as a person? Of course not. Or maybe your belief is, this task must be easy, otherwise it's too much for me. Ellis would challenge you. Why must it be easy? Who decided that? Life often isn't easy, and yet you've handled difficulty before. See what's happening? You're breaking down the demand, replacing it with something more flexible. I'd prefer to do well, but I don't have to. This task is hard, but that doesn't mean I can't try. Payoff. Suddenly, the emotional weight lifts. The task no longer feels like a giant wall. It feels like a hill you can climb. Not easy, but not impossible either. But Ellis believed there was still one final piece missing. And without it, even disputing your beliefs won't set you fully free. There's one final piece Albert Ellis believed was absolutely essential, and without it, all the disputing and reframing in the world won't set you free. He called it unconditional self-acceptance. At its core, unconditional self-acceptance means this: you are not your successes and you are not your failures. You are a human being, fallible, imperfect, and valuable, simply because you exist. Nothing you do can add to or subtract from that basic worth. Now, think about how radical that is compared to the way most of us live. From childhood, we're taught to link our value to our performance. Get good grades, and you're praised. Fall short, and you're scolded. Score the winning goal, and you're celebrated. Miss it, and you're criticized. Over time, the message sinks in. My worth depends on how well I perform. So as an adult, every task becomes more than just a task. It becomes a test of who you are. Sending an email isn't just communication. It's proof of competence. Going to the gym isn't just exercise, it's evidence of discipline. Finishing a project isn't just progress, it's validation of your worth. No wonder you freeze. When so much of your identity rides on the outcome, even small steps feel terrifying. Avoidance becomes the safer choice, not because you don't care, but because you care too much. Ellis flips this on its head. He argues that once you accept yourself unconditionally, the sting of failure fades. A mistake no longer whispers you're worthless. Instead, it simply says you tried something and it didn't work this time. That's it. No judgment, no identity crisis, just feedback. And in that moment, avoidance begins to dissolve. Because if failure isn't fatal, if it's just part of being human, then there's no reason not to try. You become freer to act, freer to experiment, freer to live without the crushing weight of self-condemnation. So if you truly want freedom from avoidance, it doesn't start with perfection. It starts with acceptance. If this gave you a new way of seeing yourself, hit like and subscribe, because we've only scratched the surface of the psychology that can reshape your life. So, what does this mean for you right now in this very moment? It means this. The reason you've been avoiding life-improving tasks is not because you're weak, lazy, or broken. It's because you've been believing a lie, an irrational belief that says you must succeed, you must be perfect, or else you're nothing. But that belief isn't truth. It's a cage. And once you stop demanding perfection, once you accept yourself as a valuable human being no matter what, you'll find yourself free to act. The tasks that could change your life are waiting. And now, so are you.